I'm Tig, welcome to week 38 of me documenting my progress as a musician and guitarist. In this video, I'm pressing on with the piece that I started writing last week. You can find where I got up to in last week's video. I lay down some guitar parts and built the foundations of this instrumental piece that gradually builds and has lots of ambience, and really for me the whole thing that made writing it interesting was seeing how I could build up the texture, the layers, and just the general feel of the piece with each passing section. I didn't want to add any drums or basically do any production to it last week, so this week I changed up and I dived right into producing the track and seeing what I could add in terms of ambience, layers, and the result is me about to show you much more of me producing and arranging the piece than I have in any of these videos before. Then of course at the end I'm going to play through it on guitar. So let's get into it. So I'm going to try something and I have no idea how this is going to come off. This is the first time I've ever played around with what I'm about to do. So let's listen to this little sound I captured. So here's my vision. I'm going to put it in reverse and it's going to act as like a big build up, almost as if like how it, to basically replace the fact that we've got no drums. Let's see if we can hear the vision. So I'm going to put it right here before we come in. So like rising up and now to like give that a bit more of an oomph. But I'm going to reverse it. I've never done this before, so I'm actually trying to figure out what I even do here. Yes. Let's put it together. Yeah, it sounds like a train approaching the microphone. So I'm going to try and shorten it a bit and reduce the volume. Let's see if that helps. Kind of is not really what I heard in my head. It's not giving as much of a kick as I wanted it to give. Okay, maybe, just maybe, if I can play around with the volume a little bit more. So give it more of a gradual rise. So if it's like here. Is it better or not? I don't even know. I think maybe I need to enlist some sound effects. I'm going to try and avoid the drums because I've basically just been set in my ways now and I actually like not having any drums at all. It's a good excuse to just get creative in a way that I just normally wouldn't. Right, so loaded up a piano sound and now I can just choose a sound and choose a different sound. So this is just what I've got. So it comes in like... So now I'm going to go over and make it into a completely different sound. Let's go for some arpeggiators. Let's see what I've got. Dynamic string ensemble. Nah, definitely not. Mallets. I'm going to be open-minded here. No, I'm just picking random names here. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Let's try that one more time. This is the first thing that I've heard that I could listen to this for just a few more seconds to see if it even makes the cut. The sound itself is actually this. So that was dewdrops. Let's try stuff that sounds like it could be similar. Dewdrops versus massive waves. I'm going to put each one pretty loud so we can get a good contrast. Versus, so that was mountain waves. The massive waves, let's go for dewdrops. So dewdrops is definitely more subtle, so I'm probably going to go with dewdrops. I should have set myself like a timer and just said whatever I find in that time, let's stop, because I mean I could literally do this for hours. Maybe just a few more. Oh, I think that could be the one. So now I want to play around with what the synth is actually doing and give it like an emotional build-up. So at the moment it's just playing this note all the way through, but obviously we don't want that. So let's try. Right idea, but not quite the right notes. So let me try something different. Let me go. That's more like it. And that's way too high, it stands out, so. Maybe if we just... something like that, really subtle, just gives it a bit more edge than just the same note playing all the way through. So I'm just going to include that little embellishment a couple more times. I'm just going to make that slightly softer as well. Yeah. That's good. That's exactly what I want. Because that's like the first half of the verse section or the A section. So if I just... But now what I want to do is not just do the same thing in the second verse, but actually do the same thing, but a little extra. So now maybe it's time to bring in the high notes. I prefer that a bit quicker. So what I'm going to do is just shorten these and make it happen twice as fast. Let's try that again. Really getting in the zone now, and that will do for now. So last play. Good. Now we move on to this section. So the notes that the synth plays here really shapes where the music feels like it's heading. So rather than show me like slowly figure out the different combinations, I'm just going to jump to a few different combinations and show you the difference. So here's one. And here's the simplest way they could sound. Longer notes, not very creative notes. It really just follow the main chord being played. I'm probably not going to deviate too much from that now just because I'm under the constraint of time. So I've just done basically a combination of both. So very simple longer notes, but some shorter notes that kind of create like a stepping, like a feeling of moving upwards, moving towards something. More for decoration. So these are softer. You can see basically the volume is lower on these compared to these. So the combination of both creates like a nice bass sound, so like a nice lower end, and also some interesting texture going on above. So let's listen to it all. So it already sounds a lot more full, which is what I wanted to do in the build. Obviously we've got just guitar and then a bit of lead guitar over. Just guitar, but some other things. And then the third verse, I wanted to buff it out, which is why I added the synth in the first place. There's one more thing I want to experiment with. We're going to go to layers. Well, synth layers, there we go. And we're back to the experimenting phase. Let's hope it doesn't take as long as last time. And finally, at the bottom of cinematic textures, literally hidden away, I found tranquility, which definitely has a double meaning here. That's all I was looking for, just something just quiet in the background. So let's see how that holds up now we add it in with everything else. I like it. Maybe even better if I can make it a bit more high pitched. So let's try it and take everything up 1 octave. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing. Wow, what a lovely sound. Right, let's go again. Maybe even 1 more octave. This is exactly what I was looking for. This is like the closest thing to what I've heard in my head that I've had through this whole experimentation. Now I need to turn it down a bit. Let's see if it holds up in the chorus. Yeah. I think actually these in the chorus, they can go a little bit louder. Just do that. Now, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, but I think we can probably use this and make it even quieter in this section to make the build up from the second verse to the third verse even more gradual, even more sustained. Now this is the second verse, so before everything comes in, I'm going to take everything. I'm actually going to bring it back down 1 octave. And I'm going to make it slightly quieter. And let's hear that. So this is good because you can barely tell it's there, which is the point. I'm pretty happy with what I've done at this point, hearing this back now live. So at this point, what I'm going to do is, I'm happy with how far I've come with what I've added. I'm now going to play the whole song from start to finish so you can hear the build-up of each part, but I'm going to add in some lead guitar, so I'm going to play it on the guitar while playing this in the background. The difference is I'm going to do very, very, very minimal lead guitar because I don't want to, 1, overcomplicate it, 2, crowd the space, 3, take away from the nice gradual build-up in detail I've created here. So that in itself is a challenge for me. Let's see if I can go do it. So I'm going to stop this now and switch over to the guitar and play it all the way through once. So that was improvised, that last go with the guitar there. So it's not perfect. At some point, I probably could have done it without the guitar being there. But I thought, what's the best way of actually showcasing the piece? Me just sitting there, letting the piece play, or me playing through it on a guitar? Obviously, I was always going to do the latter. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how this piece has developed and getting a bit of an insight into how I think about songwriting, about the development of ideas when it comes to adding layers and building them up. I really enjoyed it, and when it comes to the production side of things, I'm really just figuring my way out as I go. It's always been something I've done out of necessity, never really possibility. So it was really fun to put myself on the spot for this week's video and show myself finding that in real time. If you're curious to follow along and see how I develop as a musician and a guitarist in the weeks and months to come, hit subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.